I mean, let's be honest here. This is objectively very funny. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Seat Radio. My name is Corbin, and thank you very much for clicking on this video ahead of the series finale here from Atlanta for the Boston Red Sox, with Crochet on the mound, who has lost his last 3 games in a row somehow, despite pitching like a legitimate ace. The Red Sox made a couple of roster moves. One of them actually makes a lot of sense. The other one is one step closer to what we all really want, but isn't quite there yet, and it's got a lot of people questioning why. And the move we're talking about today that has all the controversy surrounding it is the Red Sox promoting, I don't know whether to call him a prospect or not. I don't think he's really a prospect anymore. I'm just going to go with utility guy Nate Eaton. Now, hypothetically, in a vacuum on its own, Nate Eaton getting called up actually does make some sense. So far this season, he has, in AAA, he has a 277 average, a 364 on base percentage, and a 466 slug for a 116 WRC+, which is a good solid 16% better than your average player down in AAA. He's got some major league playing time, so he isn't really a true rookie in the sport, which the Red Sox can use right now. He's a right-handed bat as well. The Red Sox right now overall are getting production from right-handed bats out of Rob Refsnyder, and that's about it, right? The occasional Trevor Story home run, actually the singular Trevor Story home run, and then the occasional decent hit from, say, Don Rafaela. Outside of that, they're not getting really any legitimate production from the right side of the plate right now, so it makes sense to bring somebody up who's from that right side of the plate. On top of that, what you're talking about is a quick outfielder who could play some third base. He could fill in a bunch of different roles, which is exactly what the Red Sox are looking for right now, right? They're looking for sort of a stopgap solution to yet another problem on this Red Sox team that really can't afford any more problems. So in a vacuum on its own, the promotion of Nate Eaton does make some pretty decent sense here, and I don't hate the promotion of Nate Eaton. It's just objectively funny, and the reason people are saying it's controversial is because the Red Sox need an outfielder, and yet again, they don't go to Roman Anthony. It's like everyone in the country, every baseball fan in the world right now is sitting there saying to the Red Sox, why isn't Roman Anthony on your team? And they go, yeah, all right, we hear you guys. We understand that moves need to be made. We understand that we need to make this team better. Ladies and gentlemen, we give you Nate Eaton. I mean, right? That's just, it's objectively very funny because it's like everyone is screaming that Roman Anthony is the one, and I get it, right? In a vacuum, Nate Eaton does make sense, but then you look at it, it's like, okay, well, you needed an outfielder. This could have been your perfect opportunity to introduce Roman Anthony, get him up here, and find a way to find a permanent spot on this team because objectively, right, every single one of the things that Nate Eaton can do besides his speed, and I would guess probably his defensive prowess, he looked pretty good in the outfield specifically. Roman Anthony also can't play third base, but if you're talking anything at the plate, Roman Anthony can do it better than Nate Eaton can do, right? Slugging, average, on base percentage, all better than Nate Eaton. You want to talk about lefty-righty splits, you need a guy who can hit lefties. Roman Anthony this season is hitting lefties better than he's hitting righties. It's like every single way that the Red Sox can tell you they're trying to manipulate this guy's service time, they're saying it without actually saying it here. I mean, at this point, we've got, what, a week or two until technically he doesn't qualify, or he qualifies for that Super 2 year, which is basically an extra year of service time, which you've all been talking about basically since the season started with Roman Anthony. We're not going to see him until then, right? They've made that abundantly clear, and they continue to just hammer home that point with this promotion of Nate Eaton. I kind of feel bad for Nate because he does deserve a shot in Major League Baseball, but nobody here is sitting here very excited to see him come up. However, obviously with Nate Eaton coming up, something needed to happen. Now, to get Nate Eaton to the big league club today, the Red Sox needed to do 2 things. They needed to, 1, get him on the 40-man roster, and 2, get him on the 26-man roster. Now, we know what both of those moves are, and to get him onto the 40-man roster, the Red Sox DFA'd Blake Sabol, which to me, honestly, was the most sensible move, right? Obviously, you don't have a ton of catching depth in general in your system right now, but you do have Nathan Hickey as well as Yasmani Grandal down there. Blake Sabol really wasn't giving you much of of anything in his time here with the Boston Red Sox, and he really wasn't doing a whole lot in AAA. If you were looking at this 40-man roster, Blake Sabol, to me, was the one who stood out as sort of the guy that you sit there and you say, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Let's get this guy off your 40-man. There's also probably a pretty good chance that he makes it through the waiver wire as well, just simply considering the performance at the major league level, the performance at the minor league level, and just sort of teams not really, I mean, every team could use catching depth, but I don't think too many teams are going to be too pumped to go grab him. So I imagine he's going to end up getting outrighted down to AAA after he goes through waiver wires. Either way, I think that was probably the best move the Red Sox could make. And then to get Nate Eaton onto the 26-man roster, the Boston Red Sox decided they were going to option Nick Sogard down to AAA. Now, honestly, this does make a little bit of sense, right? You talk about Christian Campbell was supposed to start at first base today. He isn't starting at first base, which also makes sense. I think a lot of people took that as Cora lying to us. I don't think he was lying. I just think Abraham Toro has been, unfortunately, your second best bat over the last 7 days. So you need to keep that guy's bat in the lineup somehow, and the easiest way for him to do that is to stay at first base with Marcelo over at third, and apparently the Red Sox still need Trevor Story's bat in the lineup for whatever reason, but either way, you've got 2 first basemen on your roster. Romy Gonzalez is making his way back to Major League Baseball. He started a rehab assignment yesterday, right? There just really wasn't a clear spot as to where Nick Sogard was going to end up getting every day or even partial playing time at this point, right? With 2 first basemen, a third one on his way, and then a guy at third base, a guy who can cover third, right? You had kind of all your bases covered, and Nate Eaton does give you something that Nick Sogard didn't provide, which is straight right-handed power. So hopefully, this was the right move by the Red Sox. I still love Nick Sogard, but he really wasn't performing at the major league level. It was a 245 average, a 302 on base percentage, and just a 306 slug for a 72 OPS plus, which is about 28% worse than the average Major League Baseball player. Not a ton of playing time, only 14 games, but still, right? It just wasn't super fantastic. I think everything Sogard can do right now, Toro's doing a bit better. This gives them the opportunity to get an outfield depth piece in there, gives him the opportunity to get an infield depth piece in there, and we talked about the positives with Nate Eaton. So to me, these both make some sense. I was worried it was going to be an injury, right? I was really concerned that Rob Refsnyder was going to end up on the IL. To be honest with you, Rob Refsnyder is not a guy that you can afford to get onto the IL right now. Simply your best right-handed bat like we talked about, so I'm glad it wasn't an injury. I'm glad it was just an optioning down, but either way, 2 moves were made to get Nate Eaton on this roster, but this wasn't the only move made by the Boston Red Sox, and unfortunately, the other move we're talking about has a whole lot to do with injuries. The other move the Boston Red Sox made was not really as controversial as the first one. I don't think many people are going to be unbelievably upset by this one, but obviously, of course, this comes with its own injury as well, which we're going to talk about in a second, but the person coming back up is Luis Guerrero. Now, Luis Guerrero's got to have some crazy airline miles at this point. I mean, this dude's been called up and then sent back down, this is the 4th time in the last couple of weeks he's been sent down or brought back up. This dude has been all over the place. And honestly, I like any time that Luis Guerrero is with this big league club because I do think he could be a legitimate asset to this team. It's a pretty small sample size this year, and last time he was up, which was about a week ago, it wasn't too great of an outing with 3 walks and an earned run. But overall, I mean, it's 5 1/3 innings pitched, it's 1 earned run, it's 4 Ks. Those 3 walks are the only 3 walks he's given up so far in the big leagues, and he has just 3 hits. He's looked pretty solid for this team, and I keep saying he could be a valuable piece to this Red Sox bullpen. I'm hoping that this time around he gets a legitimate shot to make it in the big leagues, right? To really sort of cement himself in this bullpen, because they could really use a guy like Luis Guerrero out of there. I really think he could end up being potentially down the road a high leverage arm, but just simply right now, a solid middle inning reliever, which again is something the Red Sox could really use, especially with a bullpen that's just been continuously beat down by, starters not being able to go deep in games, injuries to key guys, right? They just keep having issues in that bullpen. I think Luis Guerrero could really cement himself in here, so I'm hoping with this sort of news coming out here and with him getting back on the club, this is the opportunity for him to really seize that and get himself a legitimate spot on this team. But we'll see, right? It could end up being another, one appearance type outing for Luis Guerrero, and then he's sent back down to minor league baseball. This poor dude, he's just, literally, it's like like Worcester is like a main hub for this guy. He's Boston, he's Kansas City, he's Atlanta, he's all over the place. So it's funny to see him back up here, but I am excited to see him back up here. Unfortunately, like I said, though, it also comes with an injury of it. Unfortunately, though, with Luis Guerrero coming up, Justin Slayton's the one going on the IL. He's on the 15-day IL with right shoulder inflammation. This is terrible news, right? This is horrible news. This is not what the Red Sox needed right now. He was one of your maybe three, four-ish reliable bullpen arms at the moment. He was one of your high leverage arms, right? He was the guy. It kind of makes sense in the first game of this series why we saw Greg Weiser come in the 8th inning as opposed to Justin Slaten now, right? This just sucks. Overall, I mean, the numbers aren't incredible for Sllayton this year, but they're still really good. It's a 3.47 ERA, a 3.17 FIP, a 1.21 ERA plus. His WHIP is below 1 at 0.9 even. Not a ton of strikeouts, but not a ton of hits and not a ton of walks. This dude was doing the job in that late inning spot. So to lose this guy, especially with where you are right now, just absolutely sucks, right? And right shoulder inflammation could mean a million different things. It could mean, hey, his shoulder's just banged up a little bit, get him a cortisone shot, get him off his feet for a couple of days, and he'll be back with this team in a couple of weeks. It could also end up meaning he was out for a month or 2 months, right? Last year, he also went on to the IL with inflammation and ended up missing, I believe it was a month and a half worth of baseball. And again, this is just simply a guy that you just simply cannot lose right now. What's going to end up having to happen is a guy like Greg Weiser is going to have to step into a really big role. And I actually don't hate the idea of Greg Weiser in a high leverage spot. I thought really he was your third or fourth most reliable reliever in that bullpen. He's been fantastic this year, but now he's got to really step it up and be that guy that can come out in these 8th inning close games, which the Red Sox are playing a whole lot of, right? And they're trying to convert these 1-run losses into 1-run wins. All of a sudden, Greg Weiser is becoming a focal point of that. I also think guys like Justin Wilson are going to have to step up quite a bit. He's your sort of high-leverage lefty that's not a closer, right? I think him also having to step into this kind of really legitimately high-leverage role in this Red Sox bullpen with Justin Slaten going down is going to be a really important factor here. I was excited about Luis Guerrero coming up. Not as excited now, I'll be honest with you, right? Having Justin Slaten on the IL, it's just another one of these ones that it's like, can the Red Sox really afford to lose this guy right now? You've got, two major pieces of this team sitting on your IL at the moment. You've got Bregman and now Justin Slaten, not to mention, right, guys like HUGE, guys like Tristan Casas, who were supposed to be big pieces of this team and just haven't been this season. That's a lot of big names on your IL right now, and it simply becomes a question of how long can you sustain big injuries like this without fully collapsing underwater. Not that they're not underwater right now, but you guys understand what I mean, right? It's like every single time there's an injury here, it feels like you're one step closer to just fully falling apart. And I really, really hate the idea of Justin Slaten on the IL. I'm really hoping this is just sort of a minor inflammation thing and not something that ends up keeping him out for a couple of months to a month and a half or whatever it may be. But I don't know. I always get a bad feeling when someone says inflammation. It never really ends up being just simply an inflammation. It feels like it always ends up being something that takes a lot longer to come back from. So overall, right, you look at these moves and it's frustrating that it's not Roman Anthony. It's frustrating that Luis Guerrero, a legitimate piece of this Red Sox bullpen, has to come up because of an injury. It's just overall, all around frustrating, right? I put controversial in the title, but frustrating could be a really great way to put it as well. I'm excited for Guerrero. I'm intrigued by Eaton, to be honest with you. I'm kind of curious to see what he looks like. My guess is he's going to end up being a stopgap until Romy Gonzalez gets back. But either way, I am curious to see what that ends up looking like. I don't know. I guess we'll see. But overall, I don't know whether to be interested, intrigued, disgusted, curious or frustrated with these moves. So I want your opinion in the comments down below. What do you guys think? What do you think about the injury? What do you think about the moves? Do you like them? Do you not like them? Let me know all your thoughts. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor. Make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. Simply helps these videos out a ton, and it's the best way to let me know you're enjoying the content. Don't forget, if you guys want to listen instead of watch watch these episodes, all you got to do is head over to your favorite podcasting app and look up Red Seat Radio. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you in the Red Seats.